I don't think you start out trying to make a franchise or a sequel to the movie, but it seemed so obvious that if somebody could come up with a decent idea, it seemed like a really good opportunity.
Obviously, the first one was a big hit, and it ended kind of in an impasse, really, where the heroes had possibility of survival. But the circumstances of the virus and what it might have done to the country was left open, really.
The first idea was we were going to do 29 days later, so effectively setting something more or less in the same world at the same time as the first film. Kind of when Killian leaves, our film would start, and it didn't work.
There was an idea that it was to take place in the 28 days between the original outbreak and when the first film started, and it was all going to be about a team of British Marines trying to rescue the Prime Minister and the Queen, and we had all these different ideas for films.
The main concept we had in mind is not to repeat the first idea, which was a fantastic idea with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. I think this one is more about survival. It's a survival film.
The nation is rebuilding, provisional government is trying to repopulate the city, and one special family is trying to start over, trying to forget the important loss of the mother.
I think that was the main problem we had from the beginning, to make a movie about something so big as a repopulation of a country. That's why we wanted to follow this family.
When he first described how he was going to do the film, it was this idea of this father figure, who the film begins through his eyes, if you like, and then his children who were abroad at the time of the infection are brought back. But it's got this idea of looking at this thing of enormous value to the world is centred in this family, and it's played out through the family drama, if you like.
Especially because a small thing like a family could affect to the whole nation. This is one of the things that we try to develop in the screenplay.
So it was really to try and think about, what the world would look like, or what would happen to the United Kingdom if there were only 500 people left. And then we're just really discovering this new virus from the breakout onwards.
The principle of the virus, the idea of the virus, is something that we all dread and fear, and that has a hold over everyone, really, about how things could spread. They were complaining last night about they were not stockpiling enough stuff for a flu epidemic. So it's in the public's consciousness, this worry about viruses, this silent kind of killer that will take us out in a stroke, really.
We tried to make the film based in sort of realism. They have this incredibly big, slightly unbelievable concept that there is a virus that can infect you in 20 seconds and makes you a rage-filled sort of monster-killing machine, which is, unbelievable, really. But we try to make that high concept believable within the world.
Infection is taking over your body, and you lose your control, absolutely. In a way, you're death. You're acting, you're moving, you're trying to survive, but you're in another side of the world. You're out totally, and the rage is dominating you. And I love the idea about rage. Rage is a feeling that you can see and you can feel in our world. That's the main idea about the infection, because the infection is rage, and rage is a feeling that you could understand very well.
The way it moves on is that there's an immunity. There's a boy who's the central character who carries an immunity to the virus, and so he's priceless, beyond value. But it also means that he is a carrier as well, so it's very much a double-edged sword. And Juan Carlos was always very keen to explore that through a family situation, through the microcosm of a family.
The mother is coming back to this world, but she's bringing something new, but something danger at the same time. She's a carrier, which means she's immune to the infection, but at the same time she has the virus inside. It's an evolution of the virus.
And it's an interesting thing again, because it's sort of based on some kind of fact with, serious blood diseases like AIDS. Some people can become immune to it, and that's how we sort of based it on.
One of the first things Juan Carlos said to me, what I thought was quite interesting, he said that I really feel for the infected. I asked him why, and he said because they have lives too, and they have children, and they have things that they've lost through all of this, and I thought that's a lovely sensitive way of looking at this and portraying this, and trying to see even through the madness and the rage in the character's eyes that there's something else in there, that there's a heartbeat still to the person. And maybe this is the main difference from the previous film, that the infected in this, represented by Dawn, through Dawn, are actually have logic. and he's still a person, you know, deep down inside, and he's still got some kind of desire to track his children. That is bringing them back towards him and keeping that little family unit. So even though it's crazy and it's mucked up, it's a strange kind of logic that runs through The Infected this time.
Both the films have been very difficult to make because they've been reasonably low budget, filming in London and trying to do something a bit different. There've been a lot of railways, undergrounds, major sites, gas attacks, helicopters falling apart. It's been really difficult, but luckily the production team have done a fantastic job. Juan Carlos and Enrique wanted to find a Spanish-speaking cameraman, and it came up with Enrique Chediak. He was really energetic, positive, had really great ideas about how to doing the day for night. A lot of the film had to be shot day for night because it's shooting at night. All the lights are on in London. We couldn't turn all the lights off because the lights should be off, obviously, in a post-apocalyptic city. And I think he's been really fundamental, you know, part of the team. And, you know, the three Latin producer, cameraman and director really have been the heart of making the film.
There are also parts where we're going through, you know, Regent Park and all these areas of London where, you know, there's nobody. And that was kind of cool, man. You know, we're shooting a Sunday morning and we're walking around bloody and there's no one in the streets. And it's actually, it was really kind of cool, kind of powerful.
England is a virtue of the weather. You know, it's kind of like, can be bleak. And then you look, you know, that the buildings are shut down and, you know, and there's nobody on the streets. That's pretty, it's pretty scary.
People fly into City Airport and then they take the DLR, which is a raised, secured train from City Airport into Canary Wharf. And they then live inside the tower blocks of Canary Wharf, so until such time as they would then be allowed to go back. They chose that place to set up the beginning of a new world or new London. And in a way, visually, for us, we thought it was quite interesting because in the last film, you see old London, which is like sort of the city and those sort of classic places. And so we thought, actually, to start this world, it would be quite nice if it was like a sort of clean new world.
And they use this as like as a Garden of Eden that they can start again from with a few thousand people and slowly spread out into the country and repopulate the country. So you've got this wonderful visual stuff at the beginning of them. You see them beginning to clean up the mess, that there's this terrible mess that's been left. And then there's optimism that they can start again and get things going again. And of course, because it's this kind of film, it's not quite that easy and things start to go wrong.
We've lost control. Someone infiltrates that quarantined world, basically, which is, of course, bad news for Mr. Stone. He's not liking that one bit. And in short, all hell breaks loose in the worst way.
There comes a point where infected pretty much take over this protected area that we had. And Code Red means take out everyone, exterminate anybody, infected or not. So here's the thing, the very people I was there to protect, I'm now there to take out.
The casting of this film was all about the family, the central family. And it was all about finding two kids and the father and the mother. And then we also had to cast an American side. We started with the kids, really, because they took the longest time, because you have to find them. A lot of searching in schools and stuff, and we found this great kid, Macintosh.
He delivers in the story, you know, this unique feeling. His family is completely cursed, but at the same time, he has two sides. He has the dark side and the bright side.
It was a little bit easier for Tammy because she was 16, 17, so we were able to find people who'd done a little bit of work, had some sort of history. And Imogen Poots had been in the film Viva Vendetta, and she'd done some modeling, and so she sort of, you can go to agencies and you can understand, and she's been absolutely terrific.
I think the most memorable would be shooting of my father in Charing Cross Tube Station, because that was really shocking to do that, especially with Robert, and it was just incredible to do it with him. I think that moment when he just falls down is just such a shocking moment that a 17-year-old girl would be capable of doing that to her father.
When we got Bobby for it, I was so pleased because he's just such class. Bobby is never, ever bad.
He's an amazing actor, an amazing professional, and obviously he understood very well that this was my first work in English, so he helped me a lot with that, and he made the things very easy for me.
Catherine McCormack plays his wife and the mother of the children, and she had seen Intacto, and she just wanted to be in the film.
Of course, Catherine's such a theatrical background. That's what you want. You want someone. Well, personally, I'm always pleased when I'm working with someone who has that kind of theatrical experience, because it's more about the work and it's about the characters and stuff like that.
For the Americans, it was the same. There's a sort of response to the script. There's a response to Juan Carlos as a director of Intacto, and obviously a lot of people loved the original film.
I love 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks. I like the script, but as the director, in watching his first movie, Intacto, that really made it even. I think it'll really, really pop, and it'll be have the same similar look, but really, really great feel.
Working with Juan Carlos is lovely. He's great. He's very committed to the story, and he's always got time for you. He's very patient, and he's exceedingly polite. I've never met a director who's so kind and polite to everybody. It's very, very democratic and egalitarian, and yeah, he's lovely.
He brings just a really fresh visual experience to this film.
He's an individual filmmaker, you know. He's not just going to do what the first film did. He's going to bring his individual touch to it, really. And it's got tremendous kind of flair and energy as a film. And it's a highly individual piece of filmmaking. So we were lucky, really, to persuade him to come and do it.
Don! Help us!
I think this one is more about survivor. It's a survival film. Virus survives at the end, and the main characters always try to survive to the worst of the nightmares.
It's something that's so real and so tangible that I mean, it's terrifying.
It's all about that survival. It's all about that relentless, intense feeling of how you survive and what would you do if you were in that situation. And it's told by this Spanish guy who a different sensibility on it than you will have seen before. So you hope that you're going to make something that will please the fans of the original, but also people that haven't seen it will still equate to it on a dramatic level.